It's been a couple of weeks. Had COVID a couple of weeks back, so trying to get through the brain fog to even think about taking a video was impossible, and sitting at home isn't the best place to take videos anyway. And I did try and take some videos last weekend, but I was playing with a new microphone, and for some reason the microphone didn't get picked up by the GoPro, so no video to post there. Anyway, just out for a walk at lunchtime at the moment, so we'll take some video this time and see if it comes out. And then as an added bonus for today's content, I've recently found out that we can get an app on the Garmin watch that will connect up to the GoPro, and it can be used as a remote control. So we'll have a little play with some walk past shots today, probably. This is actually my lunchtime. I'm just trying to get out for a 2-mile walk quickly to make sure I've got the steps in for today. And I think I've taken you down through the village before, which is where I am, village where I live. So I won't do too much recording in the actual village itself, because you've seen it all before. But what I will do is record other bits as we go along, like some of the flood defences, for instance, the stream coming down through the village. And what else have we got with us today? The Gorilla Pod. Got the GoPro attached to what's called a Gorilla Pod, which is a bit wobbly. Anyway, should allow us to attach it to a tree slightly easier in terms of a tripod. Take those action shots. I've taken you down to Watersmeet before. This is just a lane that leads down to Watersmeet. You'll have to look at my other video for that. I don't think I showed you any of this when I was walking down the last time. Yeah, not a lot else to say on that front. Pleasant enough little walk down, and then we've got a nice avenue of trees that we walk back up to get back up to the village itself. And it's about a mile, half a mile down to Watersmeet. So how was COVID this time around? Second time I've had it. First time, and I think I've discussed this in the past, it's given me various problems in terms of my breathing. My breathing under apnea in exercise, breathing under exercise anyway, for which I am now taking some tablets. Yeah, not sure if they're actually improving things or not, but anyway, and this time around just bad flu-like symptoms really, so could have been a heck of a lot worse. And my thoughts to go out to anybody who has had it a heck of a lot worse than I did, because it's not a pleasant thing. It's not a pleasant thing all around when it's just flu-related symptoms, let alone if it's any worse than that. So we're just carrying on down the lane for a bit. Lots of crows in the field over there. I might show them up again a bit later. The new problem with coming this way is there's a cement factory at the end of this lane, and you can get some big lorries coming down here. So you have to have your wits about you a little bit in terms of making sure that there aren't any lorries going around. Somebody with a child coming the other direction. So those trees just in the background there is the avenue of trees that we're going to walk back up. And what it actually used to be is a railway spur, a railway carriage spur. And there's a lot of, as we're in Northumberland, there's a lot of ironworks or ironwork mines that are in and around the area, and it used to take you to it used to be where they filled up the wagons with iron ore, I guess, or whatever it was they were mining for at the time. And yeah, that's why it's there as an avenue of trees. You'll see a little bit more in a little while. And again, I've shown you some of the railway line in the past in other previous videos that used to head much further up into Northumberland, and we are on the edge of Northumberland, just next to the A69, which you might be able to hear in the background here. It's actually one of those little signs, information plaque things, sign things in a part that we'll go through in a little while. So just check when we get there whether or not I'm right in terms of whether or not it was iron ore or not. So the only problem I can see with this GoPro app on the watch is that if I'm doing another activity, it might be a problem, because it looks like it's an activity. So it might be a problem actually getting the app to start up in order to control the GoPro remotely, because I'll presumably have another activity going where I'm doing exercise. And you've seen that sign in the past. It's the Tyne Watersmeet Protected Wildlife Site Park, suggesting that you shouldn't do any camping or any fires, and giving you a little map of your area. And then down there is where we would go to get to Watersmeet. To look one of my other Watersmeet video to see what that's all about. And then this is, as was suggested before, is the railway line, which used to run up from Hexham into Northumberland. There we go, a bit more of a close-up of the sign that was back there. Different one this time. I think somebody's been down here cutting the vegetation back a little bit. It's much more where we were going the other day when I came down here. Sometimes sort of run down here, and it's always a little bit hairy running down here. Run walking, running, run walking, same difference. Anyway, a little bit hairy walking, running down here, because you obviously have shorts on, and you think to yourself, I'm not going to get my legs stung by all of the stinging nettles that are overgrowing. But as I said, all the stinging nettles and all the vegetation has been cut back by the looks. So we can go up there, which is the spur that I was talking about, but I'm just going to take you along here a little bit first. There, look, overgrown, see? Fortunately I've got the jeans on today, so I don't have to worry so much about getting my ankles stung by stinging nettles. And we can just make out the Tyne, I think, down through the trees there. Look at that nice old tree. That's a beast of a tree, that one, isn't it? Look. Definitely much more overgrown here. Wouldn't be able to run through here without getting a few scratches and possible stings. We shall keep going. So we are just coming up to what I wanted to show you before, which is the River Tyne. And more importantly, a little bit hairy along here, and a little bit scary to be perfectly honest, because the River Tyne has washed the bank away. I don't know if you can see in the background there, the bank has been washed away. But equally, if we look here, we are right on the very edge. So I wonder if there'll be any erosion here over the next soon. Tyne's looking nice and graceful this afternoon. And a couple of people down there, you won't be able to see them. Fishing, presumably not trout, salmon are fishing at this time of year, I'd imagine. Ooh, there we go. So this footpath used to carry on along here, but because of the erosion, it's now gone. No more footpath. Out along the floodplains there. So Watersmeet just a bit further up along there. And then you head down there under the A69, you can just see on the bridge in the background, and then along and into Tyne Green, where I've shown you before as well. And just over there, that house there, is where the Tyne Green Park Run basically turns around to go back the other way. Probably just focused on that branch ahead there, but rather than me as I walk into the shop. But we shall see. Anyway, let's find another branch to put ourselves on and see if we can do it slightly differently. bit spooky then, setting up that shot. And then you can see this white tree with the greenness at the bottom. Just here, when I was looking at the roof, on the GoPro, you have your picture in the, as you're looking into the lens, and when I was looking into the lens, it looked like it was somebody walking back the other way towards me, and turned around and there was nobody there. Anyway, how the eyes play tricks with you, eh? How the eyes play tricks with you. So this is the avenue of trees that I talked about, and we'll see in a little while there's evidence of the railway line area that I talked about. But yeah, as I said, the railway spur that used to come into the village, and then presumably out again as well. You've got carriages, various carriages of, I'm pretty sure it's iron ore. We'll find out in a little while anyway. And they used to bring it in. They used to bring the carriages in and then take the iron ore out back the other way along this spur. Since the, and you can see it must have been a good few years ago when it closed by the size of the trees, but since the line's been closed, obviously the trees have grown up, and it's a nice little footpath for walking along and bringing the dogs along. Can't see if that lady up in front's got a dog or not. But we didn't need my fleece on. It's actually quite warm. It's feeling a bit cold in the house, but then it is an old house, and we do have some very thick walls. So it's actually quite pleasant, even though there's no sun out today. So just along here they have there's a park the other side, which I'll show you in just a second. To park some it's a filtration system for the water that comes out of the mines, but I'll show you that in a second. But the point is, along here somewhere, I'm sure there was some old. So you've got a big lump of metal just in there that you probably can't quite see. You've got the there's a mountain bike trail that's looking a bit overgrown, so isn't being used that often. And you've got a couple of jumps that have been dug out here, presumably for the mountain bikers. Yep. Evidence of horses as well. Anyway, yeah, and then lumps of concrete and lumps of metal, which I presume are left over from the days when this used to be the railway track. I thought there's a little bit more evidence than that, but I can't see it today. It might be slightly easier to see in the winter when there's not so much vegetation. So these are the waterworks. Wow, look how much those reeds have grown up. They weren't a lot lower than that just a few weeks back. Anyway, this is the waterworks, and what happens here is they take the water out of the various mines and things that are around here, and because they're filled up with stuff from the mines, technical terms, this whole reed bed section and some balancing lakes help to filtrate that water before they then put it back into the watercourse, into the Tyne River itself. I've done a little bit of landscaping here, and it's quite a pleasant little park to sit in. As I said, there's some water coming out of the balancing lakes, all ready to go into the reed beds to be sent down into the Tyne. Yeah, so these are the balancing lakes. I call them balancing lakes, probably more settlement lakes, where the water gets collected to start off with and allows the first set of sediment to settle out of the water before it flows down and into the two reed beds to filter it even more. Standard sort of stuff for sewage, I think, but as I said, it's because it's because of the mines and the stuff that's in the mines. That's what it's here for. We'll have a look at a sign in a second that tells us a bit more about it. Very gunky just there. I presume that's all the stuff that's come out of the mines, not quite gone. Water's looking a lot clearer though here. And then there's a cart. Now I'm not sure if those are the carts that might have been in the mines themselves rather than going along the railway. I'm assuming so. Hello, buddy. And then, as I said, Hexham Mine Water Treatment Scheme. It's been created by the Coal Authority, so coal, not iron ore. It's forms a national program of mine water remediations. Coal mine was first established on this site in 1909 with the sinking of a mine shaft. During its 43-year life, various coal seams were worked, including the Oakwood and Little Limestone seams. And then this is the water treatment scheme as I described earlier, and it's an open water space. So coal, not iron ore at all, gold. Right, so that'll do for today. I'm just going to walk up the village now to get back home after my lunch break. Hopefully that'll be my 10,000 steps for the day completed, which is always a bonus this early in the day. As usual, please like, please subscribe, and please select that little bell so you can see when I next do a video. It's very much appreciated, and thank you for watching.